And the first one was actually 40 minutes. Oh, okay. Oh, we're live now. Okay.
Yay. Are we?
Okay, just give it some time.
Yep. Okay, we're just gonna give it some time before the crowd flows in. This time I'm Michelle Chan, not Wong Kok Choi.
Nice. Had a name change.
Yeah. Can you just mute the other notifications in my in my computer? Yep.
Okay.
All right. Let's give it a little while more.
Okay, we will start in about 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, actually dah 8 orang. Not bad. We can start now if you want.
Okay. All right. Okay, so shall we start now?
Okay.
All right. So we're back again for our
Yes.
Aspirasi Facebook Live series, and today we're gonna, talk about how to understand your credit score better.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum and selamat tengah hari. Today it's me again, Nawal, dan my friend Michelle. Hari ni kami nak continue our series, Facebook Live series dengan topik memahami skor kredit. So, pada hari Rabu yang lalu, kita buat bahagian 1 which is more on the basics of skor kredit. Apa itu skor kredit, kenapa skor kredit itu penting, semua tu. Hari ni kami akan cerita dengan lebih detail lah macam mana nak tingkatkan your skor kredit. Ataupun if your skor kredit dah baik, macam mana nak kekalkan, nak peliharakan skor kredit yang sihat, you know. So we'll start with like a recap lah, like nak imbas kembali apa yang kita bincangkan bahagian 1. If you miss bahagian 1, then you can look at this slide lah. Skor kredit is it's just a markah atau nilai yang menentukan kesihatan kredit anda. It's satu nombor yang digunakan oleh institusi kewangan atau pemberi peminjam wang untuk memutuskan kelayakan anda untuk mendapatkan apa-apa pinjaman. So if you want pinjaman kereta, pinjaman rumah, pinjaman perniagaan, you know, ataupun you nak apply for kad kredit, most institusi kewangan, most banks atau any pemberi peminjam wang, any money lender will use score credit as a reference, sebagai satu rujukan untuk tengoklah if you are eligible, kalau anda layak atau tidak untuk dapatkan pinjaman tersebut. Correct. And then we also talked about faktor-faktor yang mempengaruhi skor kredit anda. These are not the only factors, there's not only 6 factors, tapi inilah faktor yang
Yang
paling digunakan, paling utama, yes. So things like your record pembayaran, which is the most important one.
Yes.
Jumlah hutang, kredit baru, jenis kredit, tempoh rekod kredit. And kalau you tak ada rekod kredit pun, it will obviously mempengaruhi skor kredit anda. So this is what happened on Wednesday. So today for bahagian 2, nak cerita sikit tentang macam mana nak tingkatkan skor kredit. So we will give a bit of like macam recommendation lah or suggestion. Kalau you nak kalau skor kredit anda sekarang tidak begitu memuaskan, then you can look at our tips yang kita nak bagi ni. So you bolehlah tingkatkan sikit your skor kredit bit by bit, so nanti skor kredit anda lebih baik. Okay, shall we start with the first tip? So the first one is the most important one. Which is bayar setiap hutang tepat pada masanya. This one relates to faktor yang paling penting yang mempengaruhi skor kredit anda, iaitu rekod pembayaran. So rekod pembayaran anda, dia merekodkan semua tabiat pembayaran anda lah. So kalau anda bayar tepat pada masanya, kalau anda ada miss payment, anda banyak bayaran tunggakan, semuanya akan ditulis dalam rekod pembayaran anda.
Kalau you ingat, I think rekod pembayaran last Wednesday, I remember you showed the screen, it was 45% of actually the impact to the score credit.
Yes.
So that's why bayar on time.
Yes, and apa yang kita nak sarankan is gunakan kemudahan auto debit atau direct debit. I think semua bank dah ada kemudahan ni, which is to automatically bayar pembayaran yang anda kena buat setiap bulan. So anda tak payahlah risau tentang kalau terlepas bayar ke apa ke. Kalau you enable auto debit untuk pembayaran yang anda kena buat setiap bulan, then you will never miss lah. You will never have missed payment.
Yeah, I think sekarang like even for let's say telco or service provider, there's always this promotion as well. So I think everyone should take advantage of that also lah. So that takkan terlupa and then you get kind of like promosi kan. So maybe save on that also.
Yes. And auto debit ni is also a good dia cara pengurusan kewangan yang berhemah lah. So that so it's a good habit to get into if you do auto debit. Okay, next one. So this is a Q&A that we get asked quite often. It's like, jika saya membayar pinjaman kereta saya ataupun apa-apa pinjaman pun, kalau saya bayar lambat lewat 1-2 hari, will my score credit be affected? Kalau 1-2 hari, the jawapan is no. Your score credit will not get affected. Tapi so apa yang penting ialah tempoh ataupun masa yang diambil untuk anda membayar. So kalau 1-2 hari memang is fine. Tapi kalau like 1-2 bulan, obviously skor kredit anda akan terjejas. This one depends on your institusi kewangan atau pemberi peminjam wang yang anda dapat pinjaman daripada tu. And then each of the bank or the money lender, diorang ada what they call grace period. And grace period can be 7 hari, 14 hari. Berbeza mengikut setiap institusi kewangan lah. And kalau anda terlambat bayar, tapi anda bayar within the grace period, dalam masa grace period tu, then skor kredit anda tidak akan terjejas. Tapi kalau terlebih daripada grace period, skor kredit anda mungkin akan terjejas lah.
Yeah, I think for this one kan, like what I do usually is I set reminder in my own calendar. You bayar, but then I always set the reminder 5 days before because I takut I terlupa. So
Lagi awal lagi bagus lah.
And then certain things yang tak ada, let's say auto debit, then definitely put in the calendar. It's all caps semua. So I think yang tu penting lah. So this can do it before the due date.
Okay. So kalau ada apa-apa soalan lagi tentang pembayaran pinjaman anda, you can write on the comment on our Facebook live. Then we will try to, we akan cuba untuk jawab lah kalau boleh. Okay, next one, tip yang kedua is, this one is pretty no-brainer lah kan. Guna kad kredit anda secara munasabah. So kalau anda ada kad kredit, having a card credit, owning a card credit bukan satu benda yang tak baik. In fact, to have a credit score, untuk nak adakan credit score, anda disarankan untuk ada kad kredit. Tapi penggunaan kad kredit tu yang penting lah. Anda kena guna kad kredit tu secara munasabah. Munasabahnya di sini maksud janganlah berbelanja secara berlebihan, and make sure yang anda tidak melangkaui had the limit of your card credit. So maybe the monthly limit can be 10,000. So, apa yang kita nak advisekan, kalau nak guna kad kredit, jangan menggunakan kad kredit melebihi 80% daripada had kad kredit tu. So kalau had kad kredit anda 10,000, kalau anda nak berbelanja, jangan berbelanja lebih daripada 7-8,000 lah. So anda akan keep your credit in check. So anda tak boleh berbelanja secara berlebihan.
Lah.
Yes.
Okay.
And also we di screen ada cakap pasal fee tahunan, annual fee. So this one sometimes your card credit ada annual fee. Ada yang card credit yang tak ada, but you have to check yourself lah, kena semak sendiri kad kredit anda ada ke tak fee tahunan. Fee tahunan ni di charge setiap tahun dan anda kena bayar. Kalau anda tak bayar, then it will look like anda ada bayaran tertunggak, and that would affect your score credit. So always be mindful of your annual fee. Kalau anda ada annual fee, jangan lupa untuk bayar lah setiap tahun. Okay, ada soalan dari Hafiz Ismail. Do you want to read this soalan?
Okay, so Hafiz actually asked that if skor kredit saya kurang memuaskan sekarang ni, then saya dah settlekan saya punya payment, bila dia akan reflect ke skor kredit saya? Lama ke? Okay, I think, okay, so the last time on Wednesday, kita kan dah kata, let's say if the system actually refresh itself 1 bulan sekali.
Yep.
So let's say if you have made your payment sudah, then you actually can clear off in the next months when the system updates, when they refresh, so then it will actually reflect that you dah buat payment.
Correct.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, but then and overall, let's say when you take pinjaman or pembiayaan, they will look at 12 months lah. So in the last 12 months, kalau you kerap miss payment, that is a problem, which goes back to our first point tadi, which is to actually make payment on time. So it's actually okay to if you look at it like, let's say how it would actually look for the one time, if it's one time out of the, let's say 12 bulan kan, it wouldn't impact that much, but if every month pun ada yang miss payment ni tertunggak tu, then it would become a habit kan. So that's why the habit kewangan kena disiplin lah. Okay, so this is something that you have to ingrain to yourself, like someone else tak boleh tolong juga, because this one is habitual. Yeah,
betul.
Yeah, same thing with, let's say guna kad kredit kan. So just now Nawal was talking about how you always have a limit. So kalau nak pergi shopping atau like, you know, get something for someone, it's important you know what's your limit on, let's say, your credit card, so you don't go over the limit. And then even if you are spending and it is a necessary spend. It's not it's always good to assess dulu, like let's say how much are you spending every month, and then is it within your means. Kalau boleh, of course, like you would just you wouldn't think so hard about it. But if you want to manage it with discipline, then you actually there's a lot of tools that you can use, you know, like let's say expense tracker atau ada like, you know, my sister gonna Excel sheet. So like
Yeah.
these are all the tools that you can use, and a lot of them are actually for free. So it's just about having that discipline kan, so that you actually build a habit, so that you don't have you are always aware tentang where your money flows to kan. Kalau tak, you pun tahu like, oh, how much do I spend on, let's say, telco a month, and then all the Wi-Fi at home kan. So then there's a lot of monthly payment. Kalau you tak track, then you pun tak tahu. So then in the end I was like, kenapa like I score credit tak bagus? And then you look at all the list and I was like, oh, itulah PT-PT yang tak bayar, and then like the creator pun like that. So it's important to be aware. So the whole point of this point number 2 is like, you know, you use it reasonably. But what is reasonable is berlainan lah untuk semua orang. So you have
Subjective lah.
yeah, it's very subjective. So the important thing is to be aware, and then you faham tentang like where your money is flowing to. If you can cut corners, you can. And then like nowadays there's a lot of promotion ongoing, and it's a great chance to actually relook at your finances. Kalau ada offer yang baru and then it's better for your, let's say, finances, then you ambil lah kan. So that's why like you have to be aware and then disciplined, then only you can be reasonable with your purchases.
Correct. Yes. Thank you, Hafiz Ismail, for the question.
Yes.
Okay, now we go to the next cara, next tip is melaksanakan hutang yang berkadar faedah tinggi. So this one is an advice lah, kalau anda punya skor kredit, sekarang anda tengok skor kredit anda tidak begitu memuaskan. Skor kredit anda kiranya dalam range yang poor atau fair, kiranya dia bukanlah excellent sangat lagi lah. So kalau anda banyak sangat debt, banyak sangat hutang ke apa, anda nak fikir nak bayar hutang mana dulu, the tip will be to focus on mana-mana hutang yang berkadar faedah dia paling tinggi. Selalunya kita tengok kalau kadar faedah paling tinggi is hutang kad kredit. It can go up to 18% per annum, 18% kadar faedah ya. So benda macam tu kalau you delay pembayaran, lagilah ada banyak bayar tunggak, lagi banyaklah you kena bayar pasal kadar faedah dia tinggi kan. So you kena so kalau nak you prioritize hutang kad kredit dahulu, ataupun apa-apa hutang yang mempunyai kadar faedah ataupun kadar keuntungan. Kalau pinjaman kalau pembiayaan tu berkonsep syariah, kadar keuntungan yang lebih tinggi lah. So you focus on that first. Why we say this is because it goes back to your debt to service ratio. Debt to service ratio is your nisbah hutang to how much you earn. So kalau nisbah hutang ni, kalau jumlah hutang anda lebih banyak berbanding dengan jumlah pendapatan anda, usually we measure kalau your debt to service ratio, nisbah hutang anda dengan pendapatan anda melebihi 50%, itu dah kira agak berbahaya lah. So the objective is to have your hutang to income ratio, hutang to pendapatan ratio as less than 50%. This is the kalau you pergi mana-mana financial advisor, they will say this is the ideal one. This is the ideal ratio. Because this means that it doesn't mean that you are debt free, it doesn't mean that you tak ada hutang, tapi you boleh manage your hutang. Hutang anda berjaya diuruskan. And you boleh, tak adalah nanti you terlalu banyak hutang ke. And this goes back to faktor-faktor yang mempengaruhi skor kredit lah. Kalau banyak sangat hutang, one of the factor is jumlah hutang. Kalau hutang anda banyak sangat, it will mempengaruhi skor kredit anda and menjejaskan skor kredit anda. So that's the whole idea lah. Okay. Next one is cara keempat, which is tidak memohon terlalu banyak pinjaman dalam satu masa. This one kita dah talk about it in bahagian pertama. This involves your kredit baru. So kalau you ada new credit, anda tidak boleh terlalu kerap memohon kredit dalam jangka masa yang singkat. So dalam tempoh 12 bulan yang lalu, kalau anda ada banyak sangat pinjaman, banyak sangat pembiayaan yang anda mohon, institusi kewangan akan melihat anda sebagai seorang yang suka berhutang. And obviously that's not a good thing. And obviously your score credit akan terjejas lah. So be mindful of the amount of pinjaman yang you buat dalam satu masa. Kalau dalam satu masa yang terlalu singkat, jangan ambil terlalu banyak lah. Usually banks ada had dalam in 12 months you boleh mohon untuk 3 pinjaman saja atau 3 pembiayaan. So that's kind of like the limit that bank set for you to like not go overboard lah with your pinjaman, your pembiayaan, right? Do you have anything to add?
So I have actually a question. So kalau saya nak beli kereta, nak beli rumah, so then let's say if I also have student loan, a personal loan lah, let's say.
Okay.
So that means that then that would kind of be the full range sudah kan. So I think for from a, let's say, user perspective, I think that this is also understanding how much is someone how much are they taking on every month kan. So it's like, let's say you nak buat tu, you nak buat ni, so a lot of things you can buy by credit also. So like you bayar secara ansuran tu lah kan. But so then like the reason to this is that if you are not able to take on let's say the monthly repayment yang ditetapkan, then that is actually the reason why it's not possible. So then like let's say you have housing, you know that it's actually quite a big commitment. So that kalau you nak kereta, nak ni, nak tu juga, so then this becomes something that's very burdensome to someone kalau dia let's say nak pinjam a lot at the same time kan. So even if it's all for the same purpose, let's say I take a SME financing loan from this bank, and then this bank, and then this institution, and then Aspirasi. So then can you keep track or not? So it's always going back to the same thing, which is let's say discipline and being aware of what you actually need. Kan hari Rabu we talked also about how each financing is very different. Some has tempoh yang lebih panjang, yang singkat, and then like the jumlah berlainan. So it's not always about more the financing amount that is more, but what is suitable for your business right now. So if you need something that's let's say sikit saja, and then like okay, you need this for this purpose, so then you take the financing for that purpose, and then you selesaikan, and then that is one financing lah kan. So that's why every business has to also understand what the business needs right now, and then lepas tu only like you apply, you choose the financing that is. Oh, what happened to Nawal? I think Nawal just left. Yeah.
OMG.
Sorry, technical errors guys.
Kita mula di where we left off.
Yeah, so I was just saying that I think everyone needs to be more aware about, let's say, what the business needs. So let's say if right now lepas PKP kan, like a lot of businesses are trying to go digital. So we are trying to you have to understand first, like let's say you nak buat digital, but you nak financing for what tools, right? So you have to understand like what's the direction you nak ambil, then baru like you assess like, oh I perlukan ni untuk this much, so that you can still manage cash flow. Of course lah, you kena cash buffer lah kan. So tak boleh lah nak I want the most. Let's say even if there's 1 million ringgit right now, but you need to know where the money is going to go. Yeah. So that's why like even if you like let's say apply here and there, you have to understand where the money is going.
Yeah. Yang paling pentingnya is the planning lah. If you want to get a pinjaman or pembiayaan, like it's a serious matter. Itu perkara yang sangat serius. So anda tidak boleh lah macam uh, janganlah ambil pinjaman atau pembiayaan tanpa ada planning yang baik lah. So you kena plan, you kena organize, you kena have expectations of macam mana nak bayar. Semua tu anda kena fikir dahulu sebelum anda mohon untuk apa-apa pinjaman atau pembiayaan.
Yep. Oh, and then we have another question. Is Mukris Mazlan 2.
Okay.
So he asked like, kalau credit score saya good, okay ke? Saya tengok di website Experian, sebab saya baru nak belajar ni. So there's a whole range. If you look back at the previous webinar on Wednesday, so we did show about, wait, give me just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So the next slide, I think. Yeah, okay. So there's a whole range kan. So for Mukris, I think your question is great. So let's say if you're at good right now, so there can always be very good and excellent kan. And then like, siapa tak nak excellent? Semua orang pun nak, because like it will give us more flexibility kalau kita nak expand business atau kita nak buat pembiayaan untuk let's say housing ke atau like nak buy new car, you know. The thing is everything will it will be easier for you to take financing kan if your credit score is higher, because the financing amount that's granted is also based on your credit score habits. So all the habits that you build, it will build this credit score. So let's say over here the maximum is 850 kan. So that is how much more we have. Let's say how much more, let's say from good to excellent, you boleh tingkatkan lagi. So next time you give yourself flexibility kalau it's not just about modal kerja lah kan. Maybe you want to expand lagi untuk benda lain atau your supplier, how are you going to manage. So there are many ways in understanding, let's say the value chain of your business. Let's say kalau you buat business, you have to understand the value chain, and then kalau let's say from your supplier, how are you going to manage the cash flow for that? Because then it's also important you make payment on time, the business punya score credit pun akan meningkat. And then for let's say personal ones, you just make prompt payments, and then like the last time we talked about credit mix, so yang ada pinjaman atau pembiayaan yang bercagar, yang ada. So you kena understand lah which one is important, which one you have and which one you don't have right now. Just make sure tak downgrade pula. Because if you do not have a good let's say habit untuk all this payment and all that, then the amount owed or credit history length, it will actually impact your credit score. So it's kind of like a dynamic situation where you nak more flexibility, then you want to strive to get to excellent punya score credit. But then like let's say even on a day-to-day basis, I would always recommend for like just having a discipline and understanding your finances and be aware lah tentang where your money goes, so that you can always keep track.
Yes. In other words, kalau untuk Mukris lah, so your score credit dah kira good, tapi kalau you tengok screen ni, you tengok the range yang kita ada, it can always be better. You can always Mukris boleh aim untuk dapat very good, dapatkan excellent. Good tu kira dah baik dah. Tapi jadi kalau nak tahu macam mana nak tingkatkan skor kredit lagi, tadi apa yang kita cakap tadi, boleh periksakan your record pembayaran, your jenis kredit yang anda ada, jumlah hutang yang Mukris ada, semua tu anda boleh kira pantau lah dengan lebih baik. Kalau anda nak naikkan lagi skor kredit anda. Skor kredit anda sekarang kiranya dah cukup okay. But obviously there's always room for improvement.
Betul.
And you can always get better if you know how to get your score credit better lah kan.
Yeah, and then I think kan like for many people kalau the score credit is excellent pun, you have to be disciplined to maintain sebab it will drop also if you don't make the prompt payments, or if you hutang banyak-banyak, then it will go down. So after you achieve a certain level, you also need to know how to maintain lah.
Betul.
Yeah.
Yes. That's kalau Mukris punya score credit nanti capai tahap excellent ke, that's not like the end lah. Maksudnya you still have to keep up the good work. You still have to like kekalkan skor kredit yang baik, maintainkan, nak peliharakan skor kredit yang sihat tu memang obviously is another challenge in itself lah. But you are off to a good start. Thank you for the question. Now we go back to cara yang ke-5, the last one. Okay, so this one is memantau apa-apa pinjaman yang berkongsi. Okay, this one is more about memantau apa-apa responsibility kewangan yang anda ada yang mungkin anda tidak tahu anda ada, ataupun things like kad kredit tambahan. Kalau you ada kad kredit and you boleh apply for a supplementary kad kredit for your child, untuk anak anda ke, untuk ibu bapa anda ke, that kad kredit is still under your name. So anda kena pantau perbelanjaan kad kredit tersebut, make sure yang kad kredit tersebut digunakan secara munasabah, tak adalah perbelanjaan yang berlebihan, because it's still under your name. So kalau apa-apa perbelanjaan berlebihan yang berlaku dalam kad kredit tambahan tersebut, mungkin akan menjejaskan skor kredit anda juga. Ataupun kalau anda ada bil utility yang di bawah nama anda, contohnya kadang-kadang for landlord, untuk orang yang ada rumah yang dia sewakan kepada orang lain, bil utility untuk rumah tu is still under your name. So kalau bil utility tu memanglah penyewa yang kena bayar ke apa ke, tapi kalau penyewa tak bayar tepat pada masanya, penyewa terlambat bayar ke apa ke, because the bill is under your name, it might affect your score credit. So like apa yang penting is you kena list down apa-apa tanggungjawab kewangan yang anda ada lah, and make sure that you keep track of those perbelanjaan of those tanggungjawab lah, so that you pun tahu rekod pembayaran untuk setiap pinjaman or bil or kad kredit tersebut. Okay. So next is, so those are the 5 main tips yang kita nak bagi.
I think I nak add on sikit untuk ni.
Okay.
Sebab let's say through messenger, so I'm the person behind the messenger kan, so it's not robot. There's a few person who actually ask, is like, let's say let's say my adik gunakan my IC untuk apply untuk yang ni, yang tu. So that's not mine. It's not my responsibility. That's what you think, kan? Tapi it's still under your registration, your name and your IC number. So it is still your responsibility. Itulah tanggungjawab anda.
Yes.
Protect your IC, your own details. This one is personal details, so it will impact juga if you, let's say, pinjam your details untuk someone else's application. So it doesn't mean that orang lain yang guna, so then like you tak payah pedulikan lah. It's still your name, and you need to know where your name is being applied for this and that. So it's also potentially fraud if you allow other people to use your name for other application. So similarly to Aspirasi, where the director of the company is the one yang perlu buat application. So someone else, let's say a staff in the company, apply on your behalf, it is not going to go through because the person will not be the director under the SSM punya butiran lah. So that's why you don't apply for things under someone else's name. You don't get people in trouble juga lah kan. So I remember one very memorable conversation. It was a person, like let's say, this one was because ada kawan many years ago used the name to buy a motorbike. And then I asked what happened then, and then dia kata like, entah, I pun tak tahu. Dia apply je. So you cannot do this. You have to be aware tentang where your name goes, your butiran goes, all the details, IC number. It is your personal data. You should be very careful with it. which is why, like, let's say financial institution, banks, Aspirasi, we are very careful about data because there are legal implications to how data is shared. So this is very important juga lah for everyone to keep in mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So kalau ada apa-apa di bawah nama anda, you have to know about it and you have to keep track. Tak kira lah kalau bertahun, like 10 tahun yang lalu ke ataupun 10 hari yang lalu, you have to keep track anything that's under your name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got another question from Razin user. Untuk aspirasi kena ada berapa skor minimum? So I think this is a very good question. So you nak faham juga lah, like let's say where are you aiming for when you want to take a financing, kan? So for score credit assessment untuk aspirasi sekarang, it's fair and above. So if we remember the chart tadi yang Nawal showed, there's a few stages. So let's say for Mukris, he's at good. So yes, they for score credit assessment, then it would actually be applicable. But then let's say how much you get, and then if your business is Sharia compliant or not, and all the other, let's say, conditions within that. Let's say if you're between 18 to 65 years old, and all that syarat, if semua pass, then yes, because score credit is a very big part of the assessment, but there are always criteria. Thank you, Razin, for your question.
Thank you, Razin. Okay, now we go to like a few Q&As that we have gathered. One of it is, berapa lamakah masa yang diperlukan untuk memulih skor kredit saya? Ni macam lebih kurang sama soalan yang Hafiz Ismail tanya tadi. Yang ni bergantung kepada setiap individu lah. Setiap individu and setiap individu punya rekod pembayaran. So contohnya kalau you punya rekod pembayaran ataupun you punya skor kredit dekat tahap low. So maybe masa yang diperlukan untuk memulih skor kredit saya mungkin lagi lama daripada orang yang skor kredit dia di tahap fair, which is one level higher than low. So macam tu, kalau skor kredit anda from the beginning tak begitu baik, anda perlukan masa yang lebih lama untuk memulihkan skor kredit anda dibandingkan dengan orang yang skor kredit dia memang dah cukup okey lah. So berapa lamakah masa yang diperlukan? The answer will be it depends. Bergantung kepada setiap individu. But you know, the more extreme, the more severe your delinquency, apa-apa tunggakan anda yang lagi teruk ke, ataupun kalau anda ada kes bankruptcy ke, ada kes mahkamah ke apa ke, obviously it will take a longer time to bring back your score credit to a better level. Yes.
Yeah, so I think like let's say for a lot of let's say if you just started working, or if you're a student pun, you have side hustle, you know, nak kerja juga, you know, like you small
hustle
business.
demi hasil.
Yes. Hustle demi hasil. Yeah. So like when you are younger, you will always have no score dulu, and then no score in our last webinar on Wednesday, we also talked about, let's say kalau you tak ada apa-apa score credit, so yes, then it's because the financial institution atau let's say bank or whatever it is, they have no data to understand. So if they have no data to understand your score credit, then it will be just not they are not able to derive an answer lah kan. So even from then until let's say you start working and you build a business, and then you start taking, you know, small loans, pinjaman untuk let's say kereta, or you know, then you grow bigger the amount with buy house and all that, the score credit will grow because the amount of data that we are able to understand. Are you paymaster when it comes to let's say payment, prom ke tak? You selalu tertunggak, you know, accumulate 3 months and then bayar 1 quarter sekali. So then we understand the payment habits better, and yang tu adalah sangat penting untuk score credit. So to build the habit, it will take time. It will take time like any other habit that you have. So that's why you have to pay attention to it because it will affect your external, and then lain-lain lah kalau you nak apply apa-apa lagi, it depends, it will go back to score credit. So that's why it's very important. Yeah. Take
Okay.
time.
Next, the question is, jika saya pernah muflis, adakah itu akan menjadi skor kredit saya? So bankruptcy, kalau anda pernah muflis, memang akan ditulis dalam rekod kredit anda. Tapi I mean obviously it depends on bila masa you muflis lah. Kalau you muflis like 10 tahun yang lalu and anda dah clear of your bankruptcy, anda kira dah settle muflis anda tu, then and anda, you know, like what Michelle said, tabiat kewangan anda dah kira okay lah. So in the past 10 years you betul-betul track your record pembayaran, your payment history, you bayar everything on time, you really berusaha untuk meningkatkan balik your score credit. Obviously it won't affect your score credit anymore today. So obviously in the record credit, they will always be there, but because it happened a long time ago, it doesn't affect your score credit. But if it happened recently, kalau you dah clear of your muflis, you dah settle dah dengan mahkamah semua tu, then you can slowly build up your score credit. Obviously it goes back to the question tadi, berapa lamakah yang diperlukan, berapa lama masa diperlukan untuk memulihkan skor kredit saya. Obviously it will take some time lah, because you will need time to build your score credit. You need time to build that discipline of paying every month, setiap bulan. So you have anything to add?
No, I think like for let's say bankruptcy, if you muflis, it's like money is a very sensitive topic sometimes, kan? So then someone have been in that situation, to rebuild, it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of habit, discipline. So keep up the good work if you're in that situation. I think that everyone has the capacity to actually improve their habits. So score credit is the same. So if you understand that there's a certain things that you did that actually created that situation, you make sure that you are aware. From then on, then you build your habits that will help improve the score credit. Because you work so hard to actually, let's say, clear the bankruptcy kan, so tak ada delinquency sudah, then you have to improve the score credit juga lah. Yeah.
Okay, there's actually a question.
Yeah. Okay, so it's from Yaya. So she said dia dah lulus tapi masih belum dapat lagi. Yeah, okay. So for if you're talking about Aspirasi Assist right now, okay, that's a really high volume and a lot of people are actually applying. So if you haven't gotten financing, jumlah financing untuk your case, there could be a few reasons. So one of the main reasons right now is that there's IBG return. Right, that if you actually key in the right details, the butiran yang betul untuk your perniagaan, you kena check lah kalau ada apa-apa like IBG return, you receive an email from info@aspirasi.co. So do check your inbox kalau ada, and then if you have that email, please reply because yang tu penting. Kalau tak boleh credit duit pun. So please do check it out. Check out your inbox, look out for it, and then thank you so much for everyone's patience that everyone's been giving us. So yeah, just look out for the inbox. We would definitely reach out to you if we have let's say issues on that. So no worries.
Yeah, so untuk Yaya jangan lupa tengok inbox anda.
Yeah, panas tau, penting.
Okay, but tengok inbox after this Facebook live dah habis.
Okay, yeah. Stay tuned.
Okay. Now we have another Q&A is, bolehkah skor kredit ibu bapa atau ahli keluarga saya memberi kesan kepada skor kredit saya sendiri? This goes back to one of our main things that we talked about tadi is kalau anything that you have, pinjaman pembiayaan apa yang anda telah berkongsi dengan ibu bapa atau ahli keluarga anda, ataupun you bagi kad kredit to your parents or to your children, apa yang ada nama anda, itu akan mempengaruhi skor kredit anda. That's the bottom line lah. So kalau ibu bapa anda punya skor kredit, ada pinjaman pembiayaan apa tu tak ada kena-mengena dengan your name ataupun your details whatever, then it doesn't affect your score credit. But then you kena check lah, you kena really check, semak and pantau kalau ada apa-apa pinjaman or pembiayaan yang berkongsi ataupun yang di-link together, tanggungjawab bersama, then you kena betul-betul keep track. And kalau tidak memang ia akan mempengaruhi your record pembayaran lah, which might affect your score credit.
I think like let's say if sesiapa ada kasih supplementary card untuk let's say the family members or parents atau like siblings ke anak, you can set a credit limit to it. I think that is quite important. Sebab you have to understand, let's say nak kasih let's say duit allowance pun kan, you have to understand like let's say how much are you giving for this person, and then is the person going to be responsible dengan your score credit ke tak? Because it's under your name tau, so you have to be aware. And then for me I think kalau I have any kind of emergency, yes, there's always let's say for credit card, but you also have to be aware kalau you lepas you make that payment, you should be able to pay it back. And that is something that you should think about, even if it's for emergency cases, kan? So kalau tak ada tertunggak, and then just now we were talking about the rates kalau you tertunggak, it's a lot, and then it could grow as well. So kena aware lah when you do that. There's always limits that you can set.
Yes. Okay. Now I go to this actually the last part of the Facebook Live today, which is bagaimana jika saya tiada skor kredit. So kalau anda tak ada skor kredit, obviously anda akan tak ada, tu maksudnya anda tiada record kredit lah at this point, which is a common thing, which is not a bad thing. Kalau anda muda, kalau anda baru saja grad ke, congratulations kalau anda baru grad. Kalau anda baru saja bertukar dewasa kan, usually mana ada kad kredit, tak ada komitmen kewangan yang tinggi ke apa. So obviously you tak ada skor kredit lah, but that's okay. We all have to start somewhere. So now we're going to tell you a bit lah, bagi tips sikit macam mana you nak mula membina skor kredit. So these are the basic steps if you want to start having a credit record, so you can have a credit score, right? So the first one is what we would recommend is dapatkan kad kredit yang basic. You can go to any bank ataupun bank yang you dah ada. So you can go and you can apply for a basic card credit. Usually most banks ada what they call a beginner card credit. So kalau you baru saja nak start ada card credit, you can apply for that lah. This skill paling basic lah. So maybe like the rewards or the perks are not that much, but that's okay. You just need a basic card credit first. And what's important is kalau you dapat card credit yang tak ada annual fee. So that's less responsibility on you lah. So it's a good starter. So you dapat kad kredit yang basic tanpa fee tahunan. So you can start using your card credit for your expenses lah. Tapi make sure that you plan your expenses wisely. So kalau you nak guna card credit, maybe you takut. Some people takut nak ada card credit kalau dia takut they might overspend. They takut they might abuse kad kredit ni, guna kad kredit ni terlalu banyak ke nanti like above the limit, which is a good worry, but you can avoid that by using your card credit only pada masa yang anda perlukan lah, ataupun you use your card credit only for certain things. For example, I use my card credit only for petrol. That's it. I don't use it for anything else. And then because petrol pun like jumlah dia setiap bulan taklah banyak sangat, so it's easy for me to pay, but it's okay because that gives me a monthly credit record. So that's how I can sustain a monthly credit record without overspending ke apa. But at least I have a credit card, at least I have a credit record. That's the idea lah kan.
So you will build the data for so you will build the data for Skor Kredit lah, like that. So you have bit by bit. For example, like petrol or let's say your telco bill, certain things and kind of automate it. So it's also easier when let's say you buat monthly expenses punya check kan. So it's like, oh, you know this much goes into petrol. And then let's say if it's too much, then you're like, maybe don't go jalan-jalan so much.
Betul.
So this is kind of like you reverse engineer kan your own habits. You understand how much you're spending on petrol or maybe on your phone bills, other utility bills. So grocery pun boleh, and then like you kind of understand lah, like what are you spending on. You boleh categorize kan, and then you boleh build credit at the same time. So you have to build your Skor Kredit and then you understand better so that you can actually reverse engineer untuk your tabiat. So that's important lah. It's great to start off with smaller things first.
Yes. And it's more on card credit ni what you nak elakkan is emotional spending or impulse spending. You berbelanja guna your card credit on benda maybe ada sale 50% kat Zalora ke ni, okay, maybe I use my card credit. But you know, it's those kind of things, you start small tapi sikit-sikit lama-lama jadi bukit. Lama-lama lagi banyak lah kan. So you want to avoid that. Only use your card credit on things yang you dah memang allocate your card credit for lah. And card credit also for your emergency. So maybe nanti ada apa kecemasan ke, medical emergency or anything, family emergency. So you have your card credit as a backup.
Yeah. So I think impulse spending is one thing. I think like over the years of me keeping track of my personal expenses, so now it's more like, you know, sikit-sikit and then lama-lama jadi wish list. So it's a bit different. So like say on everything kan digital, and then it's like, oh nak buy, add to cart. It's easy to spend like that because it's so convenient lah kan. Ada baru je 7/7 sale on Lazada, and then I'm like looking at everything on Shopee also. So it's like, wah, you know, it's like apa godaan ni. So it's like
semua godaan, syaitan.
Yeah. So like the impulse will be there because there are things that you need, and then there are things that are just like, oh, I want.
Nice to have.
It's like, nak lah. So it's about how you are aware of what you need, and then sometimes make list untuk you, even grocery list pun senang. Kalau you go into the grocery without actually having a list, apa-apa pun nak masuk kad, apa-apa pun nak makan. So that is also something that you can have control of. So kena aware and discipline. And don't go to the chocolate aisle.
Actually, a financial advice that I follow is from Jay-Z, the rapper.
Yeah.
He's like a multi-millionaire. So he says if you can't afford something more than if you want something, if you can't afford it twice, you can't afford it. So if you, for example, you want a pair of shoes, nak beli kasut tu RM200. So you kena check, if I can afford this twice, if I have RM400 in my pocket right now, I can afford it. If I don't, I can't afford it, I shouldn't buy it. That's a financial advice I follow lah. Kalau nak beli benda kan.
That's a really good one. Sebab let's say for a lot of I think people who are starting out nak gaya juga kan. So let's say buying a pair of sneakers. There are sneakers that you know, just maybe $100. They are $50, but then there are also thousands of ringgits for one pair of sneakers. So it really depends what let's say berapa you mampu
You
lah.
can afford.
You have to understand your own finances dulu and then make those decisions. Kalau tak boleh buy twice, quote unquote Jay-Z lah kan, then we can't afford. So we have to understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So first get a basic credit card, and then semak semua komitmen kewangan anda. Same thing if you just nak start off with a basic credit card or you nak start off nak membina skor kredit anda, first you have to know what your komitmen kewangan is lah. Maybe like list down, you know, like okay, then well, if you have expenses yang you kena buat setiap bulan, benda macam bill, sewa semua tu, those are all your komitmen kewangan, and those you kena semak and you kena keep track. It's good that you want to start off building your credit score, but it's also good if from the start you have a good habit lah. Thank you. And then the next one is mula menyemak skor kredit anda setiap 6 bulan. This one is something that we talk about bahagian 1. Berapa kerap perlu anda menyemak skor kredit anda. Kalau boleh you have a good financial discipline, dan semak skor kredit anda setiap 6 bulan. Especially kalau you baru start off. So like kalau you baru start dekat kredit yang basic, you use it for 6 months. After that you mula semak lah your skor kredit. And see how well you're doing, so you know what your level is. Yeah? Okay, that's all for today. But before that's all about skor kredit. But before we leave, I think Michelle nak cakap a bit lah about aspirasi assist.
Yeah, so like Yaya was talking about this aspirasi assist punya pembiayaan lah kan. So for this one, if you don't know it already, this aspirasi assist, before 1st of July, it was actually up to 10K saja. So lepas tu, we actually assess, let's say there are a lot of people who's asking for different terms, different business needs different needs. And so we are looking to really help a lot of, let's say, businesses, no matter if you're micro, small or medium size, you akan perlukan, let's say, like pembiayaan sekarang, because there's a lag in, let's say, the economy. There's a lot of people just restarting their business after during RMCO sekarang and PKP pemulihan lah kan. So then we are looking at, let's say, untuk, let's say, the pembiayaan 10K ke bawah is still 0.5, so it's same as before. Tapi if it's melebihi 10K, then it will be 0.75 per month. Right? And then for the tempoh pembiayaan, we have actually extended it to 18 months. So 12 bulan, so from dari 15 bulan to 18 bulan lah. So it's actually extended so that, let's say, monthly payment boleh ringan sikit the beban. Okay? But everything is still the same. The process is still the same. You go to, let's say, you click apply now, and then you go through the digital journey, and then you kind of assess, you understand if you, let's say, lulus ke tak. So I think that if you haven't actually, let's say, known about this, then you should actually try it out for your business, because the most important thing is still, 6 months, first 6 months, no repayment. So in this 6 months, you can actually focus on how to really restart your business lah. Lagi,
Okay.
if anyone has any questions tentang aspirasi assist ni, you can just put it in the comment section.
Yep. And Michelle will answer it. Okay, that's it for today actually.
Anything if possible.
Kalau nak tahu lebih banyak tentang aspirasi assist, also boleh pergi ke website kami, aspirasi.co, where we have all the info about our aspirasi assist. The new aspirasi assist is 20,000. And kalau nak apply pun, you have to go to the website to start your application and to see how much you're eligible to based on our credit scoring system lah. And so thank you for joining for us today. I hope that you guys learned something. You guys did learn something lah, and hopefully semua orang akan lebih lebih berdisiplin dalam menguruskan kewangan masing-masing, because the result of that is a better credit score. So kalau you nak ada credit score yang lebih sihat, kedudukan kredit yang lebih sihat, which eventually will affect all your permohonan pinjaman dan pembiayaan, then let's hope that you keep up the good work. If you are disciplined with your finances, then hopefully you maintain your discipline and you continue managing your finances really well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note kan, like let's say for certain let's say applicants, let's say yang tak lulus, it's okay, because score credit is something that's dynamic, and we actually talked about how to meningkatkan score credit today. So there's always how ways that you can improve your score credit. So it's not something that is set in stone. You are not going to remain like that like forever. You're going to have to like slowly just build a habit, tabiat kewangan yang baik, so that the score credit can also meningkat lah.
Yep.
So I think that's all for today. So thank you so much again for tuning in.
Have a good weekend. Have a good Friday.
Yes.
And hopefully have a good year ahead. All right. We see you in the next Facebook Live. We don't know when it will be, but we'll see you next time. Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.